In this episode, we explore the life of Daisy Fellows, a name woven into socialite style history and haute couture legend. She was a prominent French socialite, Harper's Bazaar editor, novelist, and heiress to the singer sewing machine fortune. More than a list of titles, Daisy Fellows became a fashion icon whose daring choices and sharp wit left an indelible mark on 20th century style. In her heyday, she was hailed as the world's most elegant woman, and even decades later, Karl Lagerfeld would call her the chicest woman I ever laid eyes on. From aristocratic salons to avant-garde runways, Daisy's influence was felt far and wide. She was a muse to designers like Elsa Schiaparelli, a trendsetter who launched styles others craved, and a tastemaker whose lavish parties and magazine work shaped cultural tastes. Welcome to the Fashion Memoir. Let's celebrate fashion, one icon at a time. Look 1. A style icon beyond convention. Daisy Fellows didn't just follow fashion, she personified it. Born in 1890 into wealth and privilege, she learned early that style could be a form of power. As an heiress raised by her arts patron aunt after a family tragedy, young Daisy saw life's dark edges and perhaps decided that if life was uncertain, it should at least be glamorous. By the 1920s and 30s, she had crafted a persona that enthralled and scandalized high society in equal measure. She was renowned for her acid-tongued wit and fearless sense of style, a woman who loathed the commonplace and relished turning heads. Her contemporaries knew her as someone who launched more fashions than any other woman in the world, as artist Jean Cocteau observed. In other words, Daisy wasn't content to wear what everyone else wore. She set the trends that others would scramble to imitate. Part of Daisy Fellows' mystique was her delight in defying expectations. She famously quipped that a good fashion is a daring fashion, not a polite one, and she lived by those words. At elite events like the Parisian horse races, where other ladies draped themselves in elaborate hats and feathers, Daisy might arrive hatless, chic in her simplicity, instantly making the others look overdone. As photographer Cecil Beaton noted, her contrarian flair succeeded in rendering her rivals slightly ridiculous. This strategic boldness made Daisy the woman to watch. Designers, journalists, and society figures would look to see what Mrs. Fellows wore, because it would likely foreshadow the next big thing. She mixed high fashion with her own rule-breaking twist. For example, she would unapologetically wear dramatic jewelry, even piling on diamond bracelets with a beach outfit, making extravagance look effortless. No wonder many considered her the best-dressed woman in the world. Yet for all her sartorial daring, Daisy's elegance was never gaudy. She had an innate sense of refinement beneath the rebellion. One admirer, recalling her impact, said she was the supreme word in elegance, going beyond fashion to create a style of her own. Unlike mere trend chasers, Daisy re-wore favorite gowns to different occasions, confident that true style outlived seasons. In fact, she once wore a stunning Schiaparelli couture dress, an empire-waisted gown, to a reception for the King and Queen of England, and then again for her daughter's presentation at court. In doing so, she quietly thumbed her nose at the taboo of never repeating outfits. Daisy understood that it wasn't the newness of the dress that mattered, but the attitude and elegance with which it was worn. Through such choices, she showed that fashion could be artful, daring, and personal all at once. Little by little, Daisy Fellows was writing her own rules of style, and the world was taking notes. Look 2. Schiaparelli's muse, fashion's daring collaborator. If Daisy Fellows was a queen of style, then Elsa Schiaparelli was her perfect court magician. The Italian couturier was known for surreal, boundary-pushing designs, and Daisy became both her muse and her most important patron. In the 1930s, these two women joined forces to shock and delight the fashion world. Fellows gravitated to Schiaparelli's avant-garde creations as if recognizing a kindred spirit in audacity. She was among Schiaparelli's best clients, unabashedly wearing ensembles that other high society ladies might have deemed too whimsical or outrageous. One iconic example was the shoe hat, a Dali-designed black felt hat shaped like a high-heeled shoe with a pink heel. It was bizarre, witty, and totally unforgettable. Daisy proudly wore this hat well before camp was a fashion buzzword. Picture her stepping into a grand soiree with a chic little shoe perched on her head. It was the kind of bold fashion statement only someone of Daisy's confidence could pull off. By wearing such pieces, she gave Schiaparelli's wild imagination a prestigious platform, essentially saying to the world, "Dare to enjoy this with me." Perhaps Daisy's most famous contribution to fashion history came in a brilliant shade of hot pink. Among her trove of fabulous jewelry, Daisy owned a remarkable 17-carat pink diamond from Cartier, known as the Tête de Bélier, ram's head. Ever the showwoman, she would wear this colossal glowing pink gem to society events simply because it amused her to stand out. Elsa Schiaparelli couldn't help but be inspired. The gemstone's electric fuchsia hue struck the designer as shocking, pure and undiluted, and she decided to capture its spirit in a bottle. In 1937, Schiaparelli released a new perfume, cheekily named Shocking, packaged in a vivid magenta pink box. That eye-popping color, soon famous as Shocking Pink, was directly inspired by Daisy Fellowes' diamond. It was a pioneering crossover of personal style into design, a jewel from Daisy's collection birthing a signature color in fashion. Shocking Pink would become a Schiaparelli trademark and a lasting symbol of bold femininity. The influence didn't stop there. The perfume Shocking was a sensation, and its legacy can be traced through fashion history, from the flamboyant gowns of mid-century couture to modern pop culture. Remember Marilyn Monroe's iconic pink satin dress and gloves in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes? That Technicolor showstopper was clad in a vibrant hue owing much to the shocking pink trend Daisy sparked. Indeed, because of Daisy Fellowes, shocking pink entered the style lexicon, gracing countless runways and red carpets thereafter. As Schiaparelli's muse, Daisy also championed other surreal creations. She would don dresses adorned with whimsical embroidery, jackets with playful details, and accessories that doubled as art. Her fearless endorsement helped legitimize fashion as art during a time when such flights of fancy were far from the norm. In society pages and fashion magazines, Daisy Fellowes and Elsa Schiaparelli became linked names, a designer-muse duo that pushed couture into daring new places. Their collaboration showed that fashion could be imaginative and even subversive without losing glamour. By embracing Schiaparelli's visionary designs, Daisy gave them a wider audience among the elite, and in turn those designs gave Daisy an enduring place in fashion lore. Today, whenever designers indulge in surreal or eccentric touches, you can sense the spirit of Daisy Fellowes, that fearless muse in shocking pink, smiling wryly in the background. Look 3. Heiress, editor and tastemaker in high society. Daisy Fellowes didn't just influence fashion by what she wore, she also shaped style and culture through her roles as an editor and tastemaker. In the mid-1930s, Daisy took on the role of Paris editor for American Harper's Bazaar, one of the leading fashion magazines of the day. It was an unconventional choice. She was a socialite with no need for a day job, but Daisy approached it with enthusiasm and famously donated her salary to an orphanage, since she certainly didn't need the money. From her position in Paris, she became a bridge between the avant-garde elegance of French couture and the glossy pages that would introduce those styles to readers around the world. The magazine's editor-in-chief, Carmel Snow, and creative talents like Diana Vreeland recognized Daisy's keen eye. They knew that having the most fashionable woman of her time on their masthead gave Bazaar and insiders access to what was chic in Europe. Daisy's presence meant that when Elsa Schiaparelli debuted a whimsical new collection, or when a daring trend bubbled up in a Paris salon, Harper's Bazaar would hear of it first, and with Fellowes' witty imprimatur. As Paris editor, Daisy contributed to photo shoots and fashion stories, sometimes even stepping in front of the camera. In one striking 1924 photograph for Harper's Bazaar, the notoriously stylish Daisy models a cloche hat named Violette, her profile illuminated in dramatic light. The image captures what made her such a compelling tastemaker. She embodied the glamour the magazine aspired to portray. With her aristocratic lineage and modern flair, Daisy lent authenticity to Bazaar's coverage of high fashion. She could secure interviews with designers, pen snappy columns about society happenings, or simply lend her name as a stamp of style authority. Readers on both sides of the Atlantic were intrigued by this heiress editor, who reported from the front lines of Paris couture. In an era when many still saw fashion as a frivolity, Daisy gave it weight and wit through her editorial voice. Beyond the pages of magazines, Daisy Fellowes was a tastemaker in the grandest sense. Her cultural reach extended to the salons she hosted, the artists and writers she befriended, and the trends she sparked over cocktails and conversation. She entertained prodigiously, hosting glittering gatherings on her 250-foot yacht and in her sumptuous homes from the Riviera to London. At her parties you might find Wallis Simpson, the Duchess of Windsor, the novelist Somerset Maugham, photographer Cecil Beaton, even Coco Chanel herself. Imagine the influence flowing in such soirée, Daisy swapping ideas with Chanel about a new silhouette, or tossing off a clever critique of the latest collections to a room full of socialites who hung on her every word. Her social circle was a who's who of the era's style and society leaders, and Daisy was often the spark in the center. She was a trend oracle, able to sense what was coming next. For instance, long before it was common, she championed pairing unusual accessories with daywear, like exotic turbans or massive jewelry at casual luncheons, and soon others followed suit, creating a ripple effect in what was considered chic. Daisy's tastemaking even ventured into creative writing and the arts. She wrote a few novels and poems, racy romances that, while minor in literary terms, satirized the high society milieu she knew so well. This showed another facet of her influence. She could critique and shape the culture from within, with a raised eyebrow and a knowing laugh. Her bold editorial choices and cultural commentary signaled that fashion wasn't just about clothes, it was about attitude, politics, and personality. In the pages of Harper's Bazaar, for example, the very fact that a socialite like Fellows held an editorial title hinted that style and substance could mingle. It paved the way for future editors like Diana Vreeland, who followed her path of socialite-turned-editor to inject personality into fashion journalism. Through all these avenues, Daisy Fellows cultivated a legacy as a tastemaker, an arbiter of style, an influencer before the term existed, and a woman who used her wealth and platform to encourage creativity in others. She had the rare ability to be both of the establishment as an aristocrat and rebelliously against it as a fashion provocateur, and that made her influence uniquely powerful. The final look. Daisy Fellows lived and breathed fashion in a way few ever have. She was a complex blend of contradictions, an aristocrat with a rebel's heart, a woman who faced personal tragedy yet projected irreverent glamour to the world. Through her fearless wardrobe, her patronage of visionary designers, and her role as a cultural conduit, she helped turn fashion into an art of storytelling and identity. The Daisy Fellows fashion legacy is evident every time we celebrate style that's audacious but elegant, or see a bold trend embraced by high society and subculture alike. Her life reminds us that fashion can be more than beautiful clothes, it can be a statement of who we are and who we aspire to be. From the shocking pink hues that still electrify runways to the very idea of the fashion muse, Daisy's influence endures, inspiring icons and tastemakers to this day. She proved that true style isn't about playing by the rules or politely blending in, it's about confidence, creativity, and a dash of daring, a lesson as fresh now as it was in her time. Now stay curious and inspired. This has been the Fashion Memoir.